to help search out and organize Silver Lake history for our Centennial play. Silver Lake is rich in history, and many of you have shared generously your stories and anecdotes with us. If some of the events in the play don't seem as you recall them, or don't appear at all, or perhaps some people are in a different time slot, or maybe a couple of fictitious persons appear, please remember that the playwright could not possibly have all of Silver Lake history into one short play. Historical facts alone could be a little dull. So the writer has taken dramatic license with some of this material. You've heard of poetic or dramatic license. That's where the writer adds a little here, takes away a little there, or introduces a strange idea or person to make the play more entertaining. And that's what she has done. We hope you have fun with these changes. During our search for historical material, we found several historians from among our own people. And here today with us are Esther Jerebeck and Ray Pavlik. Others not present are Nancy Benz, Art Huckle, Mary Schwanda, Delbert Merrill, and our dear Mildred Hobart. Our former mayor, Joe Galen, has interviewed and taped lifetime experiences with some of our Ulsters. And our McLeod County Sheriff, Dwayne Kopesky, is here with us because his mother and grandparents came from Silver Lake, and he wanted to do something to help with our play. So, let's begin with Ray.
Well, I wrote some history down about Silver Lake in 1962 on some brown paper that I had handy. And I want to thank you for giving me credit for the use of this history. This history took me a long time to research and to complete it. Well, in the beginning, the very first few settlers in the Silver Lake settlement were the Indians.
The Sioux Indians. The Big Woods, as it was called, was their hunting ground. The Big Woods was a dense forest of maple, oak, elm, basswood.
I think we know what kind of trees were in the forest.
And among the maple and the butternut trees roamed the animals of the forest. The wolves, the bears, the beavers.
Will you let me tell it my way? There were panthers, otters, mink, and muskrats.
And into this bountiful land, this land of promise, our ancestors came.
That's just what I was trying to say.
Proceed, Ray.
Well, sometime in the 1850s, the first settlers arrived.
They were Bohemians, or Czechs. The Casper, Mali, and Navratil family were the first to arrive, and they arrived in 1858. They settled first in Wisconsin after coming over from the old country.
What do you mean, old country?
They came from Moravia. The early descendants were people of the Moravian Brethren. Moravia was a part of Austria, the sister land of Bohemia, later called Czechoslovakia. Some of the later settlers came from Poland.
You're getting ahead of yourself. There were some Czech settlers that arrived here in 1859. The Lesniks, G, Wanyos, and Nuash families came in wagons drawn by oxen. They came from Wisconsin. Their trip took them about 3 months. The land in Wisconsin was rocky. It was hard for farming. They had heard that the land in Minnesota was good for farming.
Yes, the early Czech settlers were farmers. They cleared the land, cut the trees, dug out the stones.
Who's telling this history anyway?
Go on, Ray.
Well, the Indians were pretty pesky in those days. The Indian Wars of 1862 were fought not very far from here. Chief Little Crow was killed while he was picking berries about 12 miles northwest of here.
Yes, the Czech settlers west of Silver Lake were afraid of the Indians. They banded together at the Casper home. They even built their own stockade, but there weren't any casualties.
There may be a casualty right here if I don't get to kick the ball.
Okay, go on, Ray. I'll call on you later, Esther.
Well, I was just supplying some of the minor details.
Thanks, Captain. Now, if I don't get interrupted, Silver Lake is a pretty little town nestled on the north bank of a lake by the same name.
The lake is a shimmering silver when the sun hits it just right. That's why it was called Silver Lake. Silver Lake is located in the township of Hale, in the county of McLeod.
I wish you'd stop butting in.
Esther, let Ray tell the history. You'll get your turn.
Well, the Poles came later, around the 1870s. Of course, there were more Czech settlers and there were Polish settlers here. There are 3 Czech cemeteries and 1 Polish cemetery.
The 1870 census shows only 2 Polish families. The other Poles arrived around 1879. But the 1860 census shows there were some French-Canadian, English, Irish, German families settling in Hale Township. The Buskey and the Luke families, who still have living descendants, were among the earliest settlers.
Silver Lake just happens to be known for its 2 nationalities, the Bohemians and the Poles. Of course, there were a few other nationalities that did settle here. Some intermarried, others left, others got sort of absorbed up.
One of the
After the Civil War, the population of Silver Lake began to grow. The 1870 census listed 44 Czech families and 2 Polish families.
One of the Polish families was headed by Esper Szkowiak.
Esper Szkowiak, I'm surprised you don't know his first name, his middle name, who he married, and how many kids.
Ray?
Busybody, just keep butting in.
Okay, Esther, please wait your turn. Okay, Ray.
Well, in 1881, the village was plowed. At first, the village grew slowly, but by 1887, there were a number of houses and buildings.
Wasn't there a fight between some of the townspeople and F.D. Fireman about the location of the town?
I was getting to that. In 1887, the railroad came to Hutchinson.
It was the Minneapolis-Lindale-Minnetonka Railroad.
Oh, be quiet. The railroad asked for $6,000 to run their line on the north side of the lake through the village. The farmers and the businessmen could not come up with the cash. So the railroad ran their line along the lake on the south side. And as a result, the station was 1 3/4 miles from the village.
In 1881, the town site was laid out by John Durant, John Konishek, and John Mims. They even built a flour mill.
Didn't F.D. Fireman lay out the first town site?
Well, old Fireman gave the railroad 60 acres on which to build a site plan. He built an elevator, a store or 2, and he tried to sell his low swampy lots. He wasn't very successful. As a result, the town grew where the other fellows had laid it out. Then old Wenzel Kolofsky came up from New Prague. He bought some property on the North Shore and he built a brewery.
James Stepan was the first pioneer merchant of Silver Lake.
Yeah, he operated a general store out of his little log shanty. Peter Mims and John Mims bought their property on the North Shore from Kennedy, one of them foreigners I was referring to earlier on.
Hey, Ray, Mr. Kennedy was not a foreigner. He was a nice Irish Catholic.
Well, that's what I just said, a nice Irish Catholic foreigner.
Just watch what you're saying about the Irish. I sold my feed mill to Leonard O'Brien a few years ago, and he and his lovely wife, Colleen, are a great asset to this community. Why, just here a couple of weeks ago on St. Patrick's Day, they performed a spectacular event for our community. As I was saying, the Irish are a great compliment to our community.
Well, any Irish, or for that matter, any other nationality, is taking a chance settling in amongst us Bohemians and Poles.
Yeah, but that's why our ancestors came to America, to find freedom to live and raise their families where they chose. We can't deny that same freedom to others. They wanted freedom for their religious beliefs and freedom from taxation without representation.
I did a good job representing myself on my income taxes this year, but I sure had a day plenty.
Shouldn't get so rich, Rick, then you wouldn't have to pay so much.
Who's rich? I'm not, but I sure helped pay towards your salary.
Yeah, but I wish you'd pay a little more towards myself.
Say, where deviating from my history lecture.
Continue, Professor.
Well, anyway, the Mims sawmill burnt down in 1873, and the Mims brothers rebuilt it. And for a time it was run by a fellow named Custer.
Custer's last stand.
Oh, no, not that Custer.
I thought we were going to discuss the incorporation of the village here.
I was getting to that, but there are just so many interruptions.
Around 1887, 1888, J.K. Philippi, J.J. Dennett, and F.L. Kuchera decided the town should be incorporated.
There she blows again. But a lot of guys, both Bohemians and Poles, were against the incorporation. In fact, they were more against it than they were for it.
Why was there opposition?
Well, Czechs and Poles didn't want to pay police guys enough using hard-earned money. They're conservative people. They don't like change.
They had too much governing in the old country, and they cherished their newfound freedom. Owning and farming their own land was very important to them. They wanted as little government rule as possible. In the old country, they were oppressed. The government controlled their lives. They did not allow them to read or write. And they wanted to be educated. And they wanted their religious freedom and to be able to build their own churches.
Ray, you said the people didn't want police protection. What were some advantages for incorporation?
The biggest reason for incorporation was that the saloon license money went into the McLeod County treasurer. The owner had to pay $500 a year for his liquor license, and we had plenty of saloons. The family liquor store, John Herkel was the proprietor. There was Tom Sharon, Simon Motzel, Wenzel and Joseph Wolofsky. There was Joe Mickershus, later Stephen Pudlock, Joe Philippi's Saloon. The more progressive citizens of Silver Lake wanted the license money to help improve the town.
Will you people, please let me tell the history of Silver Lake in my own way?
Sednie se tady a nezlom je.
Look at all them wild men and women cutting up something awful.
Huh? We need police protection. These people are all going to go to hell in a handbasket. This is a wide open town.
Whoa, it's worse than a while in Willie West been reading the newspapers about. Pretty soon there's going to be shooting and killing, all kinds of shenanigans going on in town.
The shooting already started.
Good shooting there, Shalupski. You sure scared Schmidt. Took off running like a bat out of hell. Scared the pants right off of him.
Hell, he already had his pants off.
Can't get very far with his pants around his ankles.
What was he doing out there? Well,
Stupid, he was courting Joe's daughter, that's what.
Hell, that's no way to go courting.
The courting was already done.
Should have had a chaperone. Everybody knows you gotta have a chaperone. Why? When I
If
was
they were doing, you can't have a third party. Besides, this ain't the old country. Customs are changing.
If Schmidt ever shows up again, hell, he's running all the way to Glencoe, and I'll bet he hops right into bed with his mama.
See what I mean? We've got to incorporate so we get some police protection. This town is wide open.
This town is wide open, and that's the way we're gonna keep it.
yeah, we like it this way.
Good business for my brewery and all our saloons.
Yeah, we like it.
We're gonna keep our town the way it is. Give me a nickel mug of beer.
How about a drink with me, sweetie?
Give the little lady a large shot of whiskey, the dime one.
Why, thanks, handsome. I like your beard. It's so.
Sort of stirs you up some, huh?
Oh, what you said, you naughty boy.
That's what you wanted me to say, wasn't it, Lizzie?
Well,
I put on my best bib and tuckers to impress you.
ooh, and you have.
Let's dance, little girl.
But the music stopped.
We'll have music, my dove. Let's have some music.
How's about you and me dancing, Lizzie?
Ooh, Mr. Kuchra, honey.
Can't you see she's dancing with me?
Oh, I say she's dancing with
Listen, you people, damn straight. When you rise just now, we need a policeman that's bound to restore order. Look at all this chaos.
A little chaos is good. It's the spice of life.
There's nothing I like better than a good fight.
We need law and order. We had enough of that in the old country.
We like our town the way it is. The Wild West for me. This town is all right, just the way it is. You want to pay some Glencoe lawyer a whole $10 to incorporate us? That's what it'll cost you.
Shilupski,
Yeah.
you should be the first person to want this town incorporated. The way it is now, all that saloon license money is going to the McLeod County Treasury. Why, we could use that money right here in our town.
Yes.
Yeah.
We like it this way.
Our four sidewalks and comes in your repair. There's always cracks and slivers showing up. It costs us $7 a month to light the lamps and nights and cut the leaks. We could use the license money.
And our dirt streets, they're full of bumps and ruts. And when it rains, one big mud hole. Why, Anthony, your horse and buggy got bogged down in front of Danny's hardware store. And Holowski, your horse and buggy got stuck in front of your own place.
Yeah, the streets are pretty bad. You say we can use some of that saloon license money for fixing up those streets?
I like the streets the way they are. You like them muddy streets because they're good for your harness shop business. Broken wagon wheels and broken harnesses. Business is good and we're going to keep it that way.
Good for our general merchant stores, this was good for our business. Now admit it. Holowski, Hodashek, Durbeck, and Mickish.
Might help some.
Yeah, we could use a little street improvement. Gets mighty muddy.
And dusty when there's no rain, like last summer.
And Frank, you don't like to see your customers get them clothes all dusty mud all across our streets now, do you?
Well, no, I guess not.
And Dubishar, your furniture business would grow if we had some decent streets and sidewalks. People don't like to do battle in mud holes.
Well, you got a point there. You could be right.
Well, I know the little ladies will come into my shoe store when it's raining because they don't want to get the little high-button boots all dirty. And Albert Horse.
Yo!
I bet you'd sell more meat than your butcher shop if we had good streets. Why, people from Glencoe and Hutch come to buy the bologna. Why, hell, man, don't you know how famous your bologna is?
That's not all he's famous for. My bologna's as good as his.
Those that go to Lawrence's, go to Lawrence's. But those that come to Hollis's, they get good meat.
Ah, go wash your face. My meat is good as yours.
Harsh and Lawrence, you both have good meat. And I got good liquor here. So does Simon Motzko and Joe Mickish. Now look, you got good beer too. And splintered boardwalks and muddy streets don't seem to bother our business none. But I'd rather see that license money used right here rather than on the streets of Glencoe or Hutch or on some county road.
We'll make this a legal meeting of incorporation right here and now. I took the liberty of having this legal document of incorporation drawn up. All of you will get a piece of paper to write yes or no to vote on this document. It's signed by me, John J. Danek, F.L. Kuchera, and J.H. Philippi. Now, we'll vote on it here in the trial election. And on December 21st, 1889, we'll make it a legal election. All of us will go to the post office and vote. And the articles of incorporation will be recorded. We'll pay some Glencoe lawyer $5 to record it. See? I've already saved the town $5. Chalupsky here, he said it would cost us $10. Now, if you wrote yes, means you want to incorporate. If you wrote no, it means you don't. And we hope that if this incorporation passes here, that you'll all vote the same way at the post office on December 21st. Agreed? No! All right, pass.
The streets aren't that muddy.
Good enough.
Next improvement I want to do is to bring the outhouses right inside our houses. Outhouses in houses.
Probably want to bring the water pumps inside too.
If we get better streets, we'll build more saloons and maybe more churches.
We got 4 churches now, same number of saloons. Let's keep it that way.
We got places for both saints and sinners.
You mean the saloon keepers are the sinners?
You mean you and Tom Sharon and Simon Motzko are all sinners?
We ain't exactly say. But we go to church every Sunday. In fact, I gave money to help build the St. Joseph Catholic Church. Next, I'm going to build me a castle. The biggest house in town.
You do that, but we all help build the churches.
You mean that saloon keeping and drinking are all right if you go to church on Sunday?
Of course, stupid. Even the Lord served wine.
Well, folks, we voted for incorporation. There are more yes votes than there are no votes.
No, let's see those ballots.
You got the now votes spelled N-O-W and with the yes votes. Now is a misspelled no.
Those ballots marked now mean they want to incorporate the town now. They don't want to wait any longer. Now, friends, don't forget to vote at the post office on December 21st. And if this incorporation passes here, we'll all vote the same way. We'll all come back here afterward and elect our new town officers.
Listen, I'm not only opposed to this incorporation, I'm against it!
Thanks, fellas, for sticking to your word of honor. As you know, the articles of incorporation were recorded in the Glencoe Courthouse on December 23rd, 1889. There were 36 legal voters. 17 voted for the incorporation, and 15 voted against. And the 4 now ballots were not counted.
The no voters meant no. I still say they mean no.
That's all passed now. Let's all pull together in a harmonious way and make our village grow. Be progressive. Make it so people want to come and settle in our town.
Just so they're not foreigners.
No foreigners.
Let's keep out the foreigners, like the Germans, the Irish, the English.
Now that's all. This is America, the melting pot. Remember?
Let's elect some of the bad guys to the village council. Maybe that way we'll have peace and harmony in our village.
Just who are the bad guys?
Yeah, watch out who you're calling back.
Not you, not you.
Order. Let's get on with this election.
All right, I nominate Anton Suhanek, president of our new village.
I was against that incorporation and I voted against it. I don't want any.
President? President of the village?
Why not?
You can't elect him. You've got to nominate him first. Besides, he was against the incorporation. Now, I was very instrumental about the incorporation. You can't elect him. You've got to nominate him first.
All right, then I nominate and elect Anton Suhanek.